Well, hello everybody. Welcome to today's Signature Style Saturday, and also welcome to the dog days of summer. Absolutely my least favorite time of year, and because of that, I've put together a lot of coping strategies for all of us to maybe make it through the next several months before fall arrives. So if you would, make sure to, in the comments below, put any coping strategies you have. These are some of mine. So what do you say, Stuart?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So come on in, because it's all about being inside right now. It's simply too hot to be out in the garden, working in the garden, especially between those pivotal hours between 10 and 3 when the sky is just white with heat. It is supposed to get up to 96 or 97, I think, today. And we are going to be in those temps for the foreseeable future. So what do? We come in and we have a cup of hot coffee. One of the things that I was amazed at in Scotland was not the incredible tea, which I expected, not the incredible scones and clotted cream and strawberry jam, all of which I expected, and which probably made me put on a couple of pounds. But the coffee over there was really, really great. And it inspired me in a couple of different ways. And so this is a little treat I'm going to give myself. And that is, well, first of all, this coffee corner moment, but also I'll be showing you a little bit later a present that I am buying myself. And Stuart, if you want to point the camera right down there, it'll give you a little hint of what it is. It's a big hint. It's a big hint. Those of you who have followed me for a while know that whenever I come back from a trip that I'm always raving about Nespresso and equivocating about whether or not I should buy myself an espresso machine. Well, I'm finally just going to bite the bullet. Prime Day is coming up on Amazon, and why not? And it will also be something to perk me up, energize me a little bit, and get me caffeinated to make it through these dog days of summer. So here is one thing you can do, and that is, as always, just create some beauty that will inspire you not only for the current season but also for fall. So this looks a little bit fallish. It also looks a little bit late summer, but it's very reflective of my mood right now, which is, I'm going to just say it, a little bit glum. It's post-vacation. It's my least favorite time of year, and I have also some personal things that I'm a little bit worried about right now. So this is a little bit reflective of my mood. So how did this composition come together? Number one, I noticed when I was checking on my pumpkin outside, and Stuart, let's put a picture right here of the status of one of my pumpkins. Underneath the foliage of that pumpkin vine, I saw this beautiful Sedum Autumn Joy. It was in bloom, but more importantly, it was in bloom that was already drying in this absolutely fabulous russet color. Now, this is a win-win situation. Not only does it look beautiful in the vase and for this coffee corner moment, but when I am finished with this arrangement, I'm ready to move on to something else. Then I can take these same cut flowers and I can just stick them in the ground, and because it's a succulent, these will make even more plants. And since I loved it so much, in isolation with just that one representation of it, I think I'll like it even more when I add more to the garden. So then I thought, well, what can I accent it with? It's still in those kind of tawny late summer tones, and what better than a weed from the alley? I used these last year in a coffee corner moment, and I just love them. I love the color echo between the tawniness of the grassy seed head and also the floral seed heads of the Sedum Autumn Joy. I even cut this very vexing vine. I cut a bloom from a trumpet vine that was growing in the alley, and I like the punch of color it gives it. I also love the way it's drying. So even as the flower moves from fresh to dry, I'm looking through the camera right now, and I love these color echoes. So when I went to Trader Joe's to do some grocery shopping and maybe buy some flowers, I decided that these kangaroo paw blooms would just be perfect. inside this bouquet, and indeed they are. They were just categorized as filler, but I believe that these are kangaroo paws. And then while I was there, Stuart and Leah have reminded me frequently that my snacks for them, my snack game has really been at low ebb for the past couple of months, so I decided to up it a little bit, and they both immediately came to the windmill cookies that I got. I love to get these at Trader Joe's. This is a thrift store find. And then I just pulled out a napkin from my reservoir, from my inventory of napkins that I have. And then one of my favorite coffee cups, this beautiful earthenware mug with my initial in it. Here are my darling little, did I ever get you any of these, Stuart? Because yeah, I think I gave you some of these brass spoons because they just give a little bit of glitter and illumination. And then two more things. Number one, this book, I think I mentioned it in one of my newsletter. This book still by Mary Jo Hoffman is, well, let's just say it is a work of art, as is all of the work that she produces. These are still lives that she took over the course of a year of things that she just came upon. My friend Deborah has been ever so inspired by this. She is really, really a remarkable scientist and artist, and if there is anything that will inspire you, it is this book. It's perfect for late summer. You can see all of the things in here that I just adore. It's perfect for late summer, but it's also perfect for fall, and it would make a brilliant gift. So if you are doing some early Christmas shopping, and I am, then you might want to put this on your list. And then I just found a piece of leather, and I'm just using a leather strap as a bookmark. So I think it's really wonderful. I decided something. I don't collect a lot of things. I just have things that I like. And again, if you've watched me for any length of time, one of the things that I love is this very specific rattan weave. I loved it before I went to Bali, and when we came back from Bali, I just became obsessed with it. So on some level, I guess, I am collecting it. So I bought this tray because I have a thing for trays. I have a thing for pictures and I have a thing for trays. And and look at that, just poetically, that little bloom fell. I love that. So I bought this tray, and then you guys remember that I already had this square tray that I nestled in a square thrift store find to hold my coffee corner arrangement for the moment. So there you go. There's just a little tableau. It's one thing to inspire you, create your own tableau. Sometimes all it takes is creating a moment of beauty, a still life of beauty, a still, if you will, to inspire you, raise your spirits, and help you really make it through that next dog day. So let's move on to some other things. Well, here's another way that I'm treating myself, because another reason I think I'm a little bit gloomy is because my son Johnny was here last month and now he's gone. I'm not going to see him for a while, and that makes me a little bit sad. One thing I did notice while he was here, and this is a problem I didn't used to have and hardly anybody has, and that is I realized, because he's a huge coffee drinker, I realized I didn't have enough coffee mugs. There was always a rotation of coffee mugs in and out of the dishwasher. I got rid of so many when we moved, all of those kind of mismatched coffee mugs. I have a few that have been gifted to me that are my favorites, but even still, when we would have guests over, I just literally was running out of coffee mugs. So I treated myself to some new ones. I love these. I just got them online. I think they're absolutely beautiful. They're very fun. They keep the coffee hot. But one thing I love about them, in addition to the fact that they have these wonderful whimsical motifs on them, and they're in my new color palette, blue and white, is that they are from a small Arizona business, Len and Karina. And I love the fact that it's a small business. They do sell on Amazon, but nevertheless, it is a small business. It comes with a little card about if you're not completely satisfied, then just contact them. They were not expensive. I really, really love them. And what I also love about them is that I think they will coordinate just beautifully with the ones that I already have from Mora. And these, I had 6 of these, but 6 just wasn't enough, especially when Stuart and Leah are here. They're drinking coffee. Johnny was drinking coffee, and I realized I just didn't have enough mugs. So this is a fun way, I think, to really solve a problem that I had. Now, again, speaking of coffee, another thing that I gifted myself to, and that was the aforementioned Nespresso. Now, this is the one I ended up getting. And I'll tell you this, I think it's probably great. It can make multiple sizes of coffee. I think it is on sale on Prime, and I'm going to be sharing some Prime specials with you. But based on a follower comment, I think my friend Sherry, she told me that she got this one and it was great, but it proved to just be a little bit too big. And since I already have a Keurig and I only want to use this for those little tiny cups of espresso or Nespresso, I decided this one might be a little bit too big for me too. So Stuart, you've got one that's similar to this, and you love it. So we'll put the link to this. But I think I'm going to get the mini espresso machine, and we will put a link to that as well in case you too feel like you need a little something to treat yourself for the dog days of summer. And accordingly, one of the other things that I loved when I was in Scotland was not only the fact that they had the Nespresso machines, but I just kind of loved the ritual of it. I loved the tiny little mugs. I just loved everything about it. And so I ordered also online from Mora Ceramics. They make my other mugs. Yeah, this is another small business. I bought the set of tiny little espressos. Now these will hold 2 of the tiny Nespresso pods. But aren't they cute?
I like the subtle.
Don't you love the colors? I love these colors, not only because they really kind of, I don't know, they're earthy, they're comfortable, they're cozy, they're very hygge, kind of summer hygge, but because I will be able to just grab one off of this shelf. I love the way they look here. And I think it'll just be fun. And I love the little handles. I love the cute little handles. And of course, they'll look sweet with my little brass spoons. So there is a little Nespresso inspiration for you. You can enjoy this. Since all of us, it may seem strange to drink a hot cup of coffee in summer, but right now, none of us are outside this time of day anyway. And since as according to Scottish and Irish custom, I really like later in the day having either a cup of tea or a little cup of Nespresso with some shortbread, an affection that has just been reinforced since my Scotland visit. I don't know, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think these are adorable and they make me smile, and I need anything I can find to make me smile right now. So let's move on to something else that might inspire us. And here you go. Here is your late summer outfit du jour. It is all breezy, flowing, loose, casual, comfortable. I got this dress last year online, and I will try to find the link because so many of you really commented on it. I love the way you can kind of make it look a little bit more tailored by putting on a belt. And this is one of those elastic belts that I also got online, and I will put all of the links below. But if you really want it to be, more like a bathing suit cover, or just, I guess, a house coat or loungewear, then you can take that off. It does have pockets, so it's just really, really comfy. This is a hat, one of my go-to hats for summer. I got this online. I will put a link below. My earrings I've had forever and ever, and I can't tell you from whence I got them. My ring, oh, you got them?
Sorry, I was getting caught up. I apologize.
Get caught up. I'm moving too fast.
You're doing good.
Slow down. You're moving too fast.
All right, rings.
Ring. I got this in Scotland.
Oh, I like
from
that.
Yes, from
Oh,
a
wow, I
small
really like
business
that.
there. Isn't it pretty? I like the fact that it's got both gold and silver tones.
Wow.
That was a tiny splurge, not a big
So
splurge,
neat.
but a tiny splurge. And then my sandals, oh gosh, I've had these for so many years. I got them at Nordstrom Rack a million years ago. But here's a little inspirational tip, just a tiny little thing that you can do maybe to get yourself out of the doldrums. And that is I'm going to be switching out my watch band just to mix it up a little bit, just to make a little bit of a change that'll keep the rest of the summer fresh for me. Now I've got another fun tip that I want to share for you, and here's a tease. I kind of both love and hate this tip. One of my favorite things to cheer me up, I mean, just looking at berries of any kind, whether they're raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, or whatever, that will definitely cheer you up. And right now they are still available at a really good price point. By the way, strawberries is one of the things that I am very adamant about buying organically, buying as an organic product, because they are a tender fruit and they really would absorb any kind of pesticides or things like that. So what I want to do is I want to take advantage of the fact that berries are pretty abundant right now. And my go-to breakfast all summer long has been Greek yogurt with a huge, well, maybe not too huge, but a spoonful of this Manakora honey, and I kind of mix it all together. And then I put a lot of berries on top, and then talk about decadent. I've been topping it with either crushed nuts or some of these keto coconut clusters. They are absolutely wonderful. They're not necessarily, they're pretty calorie dense, let's put it that way. But nevertheless, they are keto friendly, and I just take a couple of them and I kind of crunch them. Yeah, Stuart loves them. Crunch them and put them on top. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking a couple of cookie sheets, and you guys know how to do this. I'm not telling you anything new. It's just sometimes I think we forget to do it, just like I sometimes forget to store enough basil for the winter months. Okay, so I'm doing this now, and you'll notice that I'm just putting, oops, we've got a runaway blueberry. That sounds like the name of a children's book, The Blueberry That Ran Away. Well, I tried to find it before I stepped on it. Okay, now what I want to make sure is that when I freeze these, I'm freezing them individually in a single layer. That way I can just, once they're frozen individually, I can then just take all of them and put them in a bag into the freezer, and then I can continue to enjoy this seasonal fresh breakfast all through the winter months. And so I want to avoid as much crystallization on the berries as possible. So that's why I am trying to absorb with a paper towel as much of the water as possible. Now, strawberries require just a little bit more preparation, because you really want them to freeze in the form that you will use them in. And probably for me, that will be in smoothies and things like that. And once they freeze, well, just imagine trying to make a smoothie with a frozen strawberry in its whole state, and it would just be like a rock that kind of moved around in the blender or in your Ninja or whatever it is.
It's a pretty good looking box of strawberries.
Yeah, it's a pretty good, yes. These actually came from Aldi, as did these keto coconut clusters. And then I'm putting these on a sheet of wax paper, which has a certain kind of old-fashioned charm to me that I just love. Now, I could freeze these whole, but one thing about strawberries, a little bit unlike blueberries, is it will really degrade their texture a little bit by freezing them. So it's more appropriate, I think, to use them in things like, smoothies or blender items kind of thing, blender recipes, that kind of thing. But what I also like to do is just cook them down with some honey and maybe drizzle that over my yogurt as more of a sauce rather than as a whole berry. Of course, it's also good on ice cream. So while they are still plentiful, we're almost at the end of strawberry season, but all the more reason, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, you guys, of what I've got in my refrigerator, because I am going to freeze a lot of these. The other nice thing is sometimes if you want to give somebody that's feeling kind of glum a smile present in the middle of winter, this would be a fun thing, a fun kind of basket to put together to give people, and that would be some frozen berries, maybe with some warm oatmeal and some of my favorite Manacora honey. Okay, just a couple more. I will throw these remnants in the compost pile. One thing I do not like, I hate these kind of plastic clamshell packages because they just seem so unenvironmentally friendly. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I want to reduce crystallization, so I am going to mop up any water. I see a few errant stems on these blueberries that I need to remove. I will do that. Nothing like getting a blueberry stem in your tooth. Okay. And also, obviously, I could use these in muffins or things like that. Okay, so then they are on a single layer. I am going to put these in the freezer. Once they are solid, I will then just take them off of the wax paper. I will put them in freezer bags, gallon-sized freezer bags, pop them into the freezer, and then I will have berries fresh from summer, but all winter long. Okay, while Stuart is picking coconut out of his teeth, I am over here busily working in my garden journal. And if you guys don't already have one of these, I know it's mine, but I still highly recommend it. I've used it more in the past week, I think, than I have all season long, because I'm making so many observations that I'm writing down about stuff that I want to change, stuff that I want to move, stuff that I want to add. And here are 2 tips. Number 1, when I am walking around in the garden and I think, oh, I want to move these shrubs to another location, or I want to make sure that I plant this flower next spring, I am not going to make that observation on July 11th or whatever day it is, because I won't go back in July next spring or this fall to look and see what I wrote down. I will reference that point in time. So what do I mean by that? Well, in September, towards the end of September, when it will be cool enough and I can start moving things around, I can transplant perennials, I can relocate shrubs. That is the day in my garden journal when I am going to record that task. And not only am I going to record, today, Linda, do this in the garden, I am also going to highlight it. That way I know that it is something that I need to do, not something that I have already done. So that's a gardening tip for you as you you use your garden journal. Something else that I'm doing right now, tip number 2, this is ever so inspiring at any time of year. I just submitted, I remembered to do it, Leah. I submitted the answers to the questions about tulip bulb planting in the fall for Southern Living. But that reminded me that I need to go ahead and place my order with Color Blends. So even though it's July, I want to make sure that the ones that I want to plant this fall, based on the notations that I made in my garden journal in the spring, will be available. They will not ship you, nor will they bill you until it's time to plant, which for me is late October through November. So you definitely want to order them now. And it's not just tulips that they often run out of, the varieties, the blends that you like. It is also amaryllis and alliums. So definitely, if you want to order alliums for Christmas, if you want to have, or amaryllis for Christmas, alliums for next spring, and you are coveting certain very specific varieties, you want to order them now.
I've been around a few years. This is so true.
Don't say I didn't warn you. So go to colorblends.com and do that right now. Okay, speaking of amaryllis, these are the amaryllis that were in bloom last Christmas, and I did indeed save the bulbs. I put them outside for them to grow on. I have been feeding them all season long, and I've never really had good luck getting amaryllis to rebloom around Christmas time. Now, I have had good luck in getting them to rebloom, but typically that's been in the summer. This year I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit, and you guys might want to try to mix it up too. And that is, now that I have been tending these all spring and summer, I have been feeding them pretty aggressively because I want them to put out a really good bloom if possible in the winter time. But now I am going to do 2 things. I'm going to start withholding water. I am not going to water these anymore because I want them to go into kind of a dormant state. I'm going to let the foliage die back, which will feed the bulb, and then I'm going to put them up in a cool, dark place. After a protracted amount of time, probably I'm going to say around the first part of October, second week of October, after they have been dormant for quite a while, maybe even longer. I'll check some information, some experts on that. Then I will bring them back out and I will pot them up again in hopes that I can get them to bloom around the holidays. But if you have amaryllis like this, you can continue to enjoy them outside as a potted plant, or you can do like I'm going to do, and that's I'm going to start preparing them for winter bloom.